ആകാശവാണി. വിദ്യാഭ്യാസ രംഗം.
വിജയവാണി. SSLC പരീക്ഷാ സഹായി. ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് ആദ്യ ടേമിനെ ആസ്പദമാക്കിയുള്ള ക്ലാസ് കേൾക്കാം. അവതരിപ്പിക്കുന്നത് തിരുവനന്തപുരം GV രാജ സ്പോർട്സ് സ്കൂൾ അധ്യാപിക ലിഷ S.THAPAS.
Good evening, dears. Welcome back to English Classroom. Today, we are going to discuss the first 2 units of Standard 10 English Reader. Hope that you are all preparing well for the second terminal examination. Today, we will discuss the very first 2 units, and the first unit, as we all know, Trials and Triumphs. In this unit, we have 3 lessons. The very first lesson, A Very Old Man with Enormous Wings, and the second lesson, In the Attic, and the third lesson, Friends, Romance, Countrymen. Let's discuss the very first lesson, A Very Old Man with Enormous Wings by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. The important characters: the old man with enormous wings, the angel, Peleo, Elzinda, the priest, and the villagers. The story explores the themes of human nature, faith, and treatment of an unknown person. Theme of the story: human nature, faith and superstition, and treatment of the unknown. The story showcases how humans react to an unknown or extraordinary person. The villagers are initially fascinated by the old man, but soon they become indifferent and cruel. The villagers are also having superstitious beliefs, and the people are treating this old man in a very indifferent way, and the society often marginalizes and exploits those who are different or not fit into our understanding of the world. Now, let's move on to the expected questions from this particular lesson. The first question: read the passage from the story, The Very Old Man with Enormous Wings, and answer the questions that follow. Now, we are going to discuss a passage from the story, The Old Man with Enormous Wings. Please take your textbooks and listen. They looked at him so long and so closely that Peleo and Elzinda very soon overcame their surprise. In the end, they found him familiar. Then they dared speak to him. He answered in an incomprehensible dialect with a strong sailor's voice. They concluded that he was a lonely castaway from some foreign ship wrecked by the storm. Then they called in a neighbor woman to see him. All she needed was one look to show them their mistake. He is an angel, she told them. He must have been coming for the child, but the poor fellow is so old that the rain knocked him out. Now, let's discuss the questions based on this particular passage. The first question: who found the old man? The answer: Peleo and Elzinda. The second question: what was the dialect used by the old man? Answer: an incomprehensible dialect with a strong sailor's voice. This year onwards, we have a different pattern of question, that is MCQ questions. You will have a question and with 4 options. So, you have the privilege to find out the correct answer from the options. Let me read the MCQ question. What did Peleo and Elzinda initially conclude about the old man? The options: he was an angel, he was a lonely castaway from a foreign ship wrecked by the storm, he was a neighbor, he was a sailor on vacation. The right answer: he was a lonely castaway from a foreign ship wrecked by the storm. Another MCQ question: who told Peleo and Elzinda that the old man was an angel? Options: a priest, a neighbor woman, Peleo himself, Elzinda herself. Here, the answer is a neighbor woman. Now, let's discuss another type of question. Listen to the sentence very carefully. The poor fellow is so old. The question is, pick out the noun phrase and verb phrase from this sentence. The sentence is, the poor fellow is so old. Noun phrase, the poor fellow. verb phrase is so old. Now, let's discuss another expected question from this lesson. Write a newspaper report about the mysterious old man with enormous wings who was found in Peleo's backyard. What are the reactions of the villagers and what do they think about his identity? When you are preparing a newspaper report, you have to follow the following tips. The first one, there should be a catchy headline. And the second tip for you is there should be a lead paragraph. That means you have to summarize the story in the first paragraph, including the 5 W's. That is who, what, when, where, and why. And there should be a clear structure in your newspaper report. And you are asked to quote facts and include relevant facts and details related with the report. And your presentation should be objective. You should only report the facts, avoiding personal opinions or bias. Do not forget, you should write the headline first, and the headline should lead to the news. Now let's discuss another type of question, a character sketch. Tips to prepare a character sketch. First one, physical description. Second point, personality traits. And third point, actions and behavior. And fourth point, speech and dialogues in the story. The last point, background and context. So here you are asked to prepare the character sketch of the old man in the beautiful story, a very old man with enormous wings. So you have to keep the above points to prepare the character sketch. And you can begin your answer like this. The old man is a mysterious and complex figure with enormous wings. And it's a beautiful story written by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Like that, you can continue your character sketch. Now, let's move on to the next lesson, In the Attic by Vladislav Spilsman. In the Attic, it's a part of Vladislav Spilsman's memoir, The Pianist, which recounts his experiences as a Jewish pianist surviving in the Holocaust in Warsaw during World War II. In this part of the memoir, Spilman finds refuge hiding in an attic, isolated and desperate as he witnesses the destruction of his family and the Warsaw ghetto. The story is a powerful testimony to the strength of courage, memory, and the longing for freedom, even in the most dangerous circumstances. Now, let's discuss the expected questions. In the Attic is a harrowing survival testimony that highlights the resilience of the human spirit during one of the history's darkest periods. Through Spilsman's personal journey, it reflects deeply on fear, solitude, compassion, and hope amidst war and destruction. Based on your reading, prepare the detailed review of the story. The question will be followed with some hints. Ruins-filled backdrop, pianist in hiding, soldiers' unexpected kindness, music as connection, identity under threat, freedom after war. When you are asked to prepare a review, you have to keep these points in your mind. Give the title and be very specific, be objective, clear, concise, and provide the context. One more thing you have to keep in your mind, you should be critical while preparing an answer to a review. Now let's discuss another question from this lesson. The German officer is a silent rebel against the cruelty surrounding him, and he chooses compassion over violence. On December 12, he visits Spilsman for the last time as he had to leave Warsaw. Prepare the officer's diary entry on that day, capturing his thoughts about Spilsman, his fears, and his hope for the end of the war. Here you are asked to prepare a diary entry, so do not forget to mention date and time. And you have to reveal the emotions perfectly. Now let's move on to the next lesson. Friends, Romans, Countrymen. It's by William Shakespeare. This is a speech from Shakespeare's Julius Caesar, delivered by Mark Antony at Caesar's funeral to incite the crowd against the conspirators. expected questions. Here are two excerpts from the play Julius Caesar. They are the words of Brutus and Mark Antony delivered on the occasion of Caesar's funeral. Read them carefully. Mark Antony and Brutus' speech. You have to read it carefully and you have to make a comparison between these two speeches. So here the question is, read the two parts and analyze their speeches and then write a paragraph on the points each speaker tries to highlight. Point out the argument you find to be more convincing and explain your reasons. So what you have to do is read these two dialogues by Mark Antony and Brutus and you can make a comparison and you can make a brief note of these two speeches and make it as a paragraph and write for the examination. The next question, usually we have a question of profile writing and nowadays the questions are going on like this. Write a biographical sketch of a person. So here you are having the details of William Shakespeare and you are asked to prepare the biographical sketch of William Shakespeare. Now let's move on to the second unit. In second unit also we have 3 lessons and the first one, Breaking Barriers, I Will Fly. Second one, A Phoenix Rises and The Seedling, a poem. Let's discuss Breaking Barriers, I Will Fly. Srikanth Bolla's life is a story of grit, grace and greatness. Born blind in a poor family, he rose above prejudice and pain to become the CEO of $1 million eco-friendly packaging company that uplifts the differently abled. Now, an expected question. Your innovative idea for a sustainable waste disposal mechanisms has been selected for the Young Innovators Program. Draft an email to Balanan Industries inquiring about the potential for implementation of this idea, requesting their support and assistance to advance the project. So here, it's a question of preparing an email. How we can prepare an email? First, you have to write your address. Next comes the sender's address, then a subject, then the matter, then comes your conclusion. The next one, A Phoenix Rises. A Phoenix Rises by Tingle Khanna highlights the journey from a young boy Babalu to a responsible adult who, through his resilience and determination, builds a successful business and provides for his family, symbolizing rebirth and phoenix-like rise from adversity. Expected question. Read the passage from the lesson A Phoenix Rises and frame 3 questions based on your reading. That means you will get a passage, read the passage very carefully and you can prepare 3 questions. Now let's move on to the last poem, The Seedling by Paul Laurence Dunbar. The Seedling tells a story of a small seed growing into a beautiful flower. The poet uses a seedling as a symbol of human hope and growth. Through this simple journey, Dunbar shares a message about the facing life struggles with courage and a positive attitude. The theme of the poem is about trying one's best even at the face of difficulties. Expected questions from this lesson. Read the poem and write the answer. As a quiet little seedling lay within its darksome bed, he lights of day to examine the surroundings. The question, what does a seedling do when it is exposed to heat and light? Then the next expected question will be an appreciation. So you all know how to prepare an appreciation. You have to give the introduction, you have to give the meaning, you have to give the theme, you have to mention the rhyming scheme and rhyming words and the poetic devices. So I hope that today's discussion will help you to prepare well for your upcoming examinations. I wish you all very best. Thank you. Good night.
ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് ആദ്യ ടേമിനെ ആസ്പദമാക്കിയുള്ള ക്ലാസ്സാണ് ഇതുവരെ കേട്ടത്. അവതരിപ്പിച്ചത് തിരുവനന്തപുരം GV രാജ സ്പോർട്സ് സ്കൂൾ അധ്യാപിക ലിഷ S.THAPAS. വിജയവാണി SSLC പരീക്ഷാ സഹായി.
വിദ്യാഭ്യാസ രംഗം സമാപിച്ചു.